All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Sean Callan.
Here.
Julie Chetney.
Here.
Tom Chiappa.
Here.
David Crisafulli. Here. Jim McKenzie's here. Chris Norfleet.
Here.
And Sean Onma.
Here.
If you can rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, there was nobody signed up for the floor to the public, so we're on to our acknowledgements with Tom Chiappa.
We are. Come on, technology. Technology's a beautiful thing. Thank you. There you are. Okay. All right. So let's get started. We're going to start over at the middle school with the capital project update. The construction crews have been working hard over winter break. Hallway scaffolding is gone, and we have new windows, a new ceiling, and new lights, making the main hallway much brighter than before. Our main entry has been redone to include more secure doors and windows and a better entry system. There's still work to be done, but many of the items are being completed. On our way to the high school now, December was a very busy month at OHS. The National Honor Society donated toiletries to the Human Concerns at their new location. The music department held fabulous concerts showcasing our talented students, and Century 21 Galloway donated stockings to some of our students. Staying at the high school, Quilt with Passion donated hundreds of handmade quilts to some of our students. The Interact Club rang the Salvation Army bell and made cards for residents at Bishop's Commons. The Creative Writing Club organized a book donation drive for the Golisano Children's Hospital. The Key Club decorated the entire high school for the holidays. Students in our family and consumer sciences classes sewed stockings and designed holiday cards for local veterans. And once finished, these stockings and cards were delivered to veterans to help spread holiday cheer during the season. Now over to Fitzhugh Park. Fitzhugh students were excited to cuddle up and read before break. Parents, administrators, and community members volunteered their time to read books in different classrooms for our students. We're so grateful to everyone who stopped by. And now over to Riley School, where there was plenty of holiday spirit in the air at Bishop Commons during a recent visit from our Riley kindergartners. Students performed some holiday songs for the residents. It was a great way to get into the holiday spirit. And we finish up with athletics. Our JV and varsity girls basketball teams completed their Hoop Shoot for the Holidays fundraiser recently. The team spent weeks collecting donations that support the program and allows them to purchase gifts for local families in need to help make their holiday season a little extra special. This year, the fundraiser was able to support 32 kids across several families. The teams worked with school counselors and nurses at Fitzhugh Park, Charles E. Riley, and Layton Elementary School, who helped to facilitate who they could support with this fundraiser. We are so proud of everyone involved for all their hard-working dedication and commitment to their community during this holiday season. So thank you all very much.
All right, thank you, Tom. Next on the agenda is, there's one item under Board of Education, and it is a resolution to adopt the Central New York RIC One Risk Operations Center as presented. So if I can have a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. Is there any discussion?
I had one question, not particularly about this, but I happened to notice that a lot of the districts around send their email through the RIC. Their email address will be at cnyric.org. Is there any advantage or security advantage to that for us or anything there? No.
No, we have the same protocols, and actually we use the RIC for a great deal of our security work. We partner with them, but there is no difference, based on my understanding of security protocols, going through them for email versus our own server. Jamie and his team, they do an outstanding job of ensuring that we're following the most stringent of security protocols.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Just a couple of things, just real quick, just One, when we're talking about some of our facilities projects, 3B of the 2018 project is just about complete, a couple of small punch list items. So that's primarily at the middle school. You saw at the middle school, the front entrance doors, that was a part of that 3B as well. As you know, we had to declare an emergency project at the middle school in November. That work is actually complete. That was the windows, that was the parapet rebuilding, that all work is done. The ceiling grid and new lights are all installed, so that work is ultimately going to be closed out. We had another meeting today for our EPC. So our EPC work, that's primarily the lighting, and then there's some upgrades to building envelopes, pool covers, again, all efficiency level work. That work is beginning later this month and next month, and will continue throughout the rest of the year. On today's agenda, we also have a new emergency project for your review and approval, and that is the elevators at Kingsford Park and Fitzhugh. Both of those elevators were part of the 24 project, and our hope was that we were going to be able to do that work. They were still within their life expectancy, and we had done significant work on them a number of years ago, and our hope was we were going to be able to get that work done during that 24 project. We've had a number of issues with those elevators, and we feel it's imperative that we get that work done sooner rather than later. And so we're trying to get that work done this summer. Anytime we're doing a project, there is a lag time when it comes to asking for SED approvals, and then when we can actually get bids done. If we went through a typical cycle, we would not be able to get that work done for more than a year. And we're at the point that it is an emergency. We need to get these elevators done because they're down more than they're not. And so it is imperative that we get them done this summer, if at all possible. And so that's why we're coming forward to the board today to declare that emergency project. Again, the facility project, all of the approvals, a lot of the procedures are all still there, just allows us to expedite the work. But we still get state aid, just like we do with a typical project. So there is really no negative when it comes to the district point of view, but it's imperative that we try to get that work done as quickly as possible. So we are working with King and King and State Ed to move that along. If we get your approval today, we'll begin working with the company to get those materials ordered as quickly as possible, because it's the lead time, which is our biggest concern about starting that work hopefully this summer. I sent out an email today about the National Day of Mourning for former President Jimmy Carter. There was some confusion, it sounds like, within the community, hearing about a number of closures at the federal level, and there was concern that maybe schools were closed as well. So we just wanted to make sure we communicated to everyone that schools are in session, even though it's a National Day of Mourning. I know that many of our teachers will honor President Carter and his work as not only president, but his work in charity and service to not only the United States, but internationally as well. So that's just to address some clarification. And I just want to emphasize, and again, this will come a little bit later as well, Compass Federal Credit Union, once again, has donated a significant a number of funds to the district, over $5,000. They do this every single year. It's focused entirely on providing clothing, especially winter clothing, to our families and students in need. You saw in a number of the acknowledgments today the amount of service work that our students do, again, all focused on supporting our community and the neediest within our community. And so I'm just proud to be a part of a community that is constantly looking for ways to support one another. And that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Kilmer. Next on the agenda are committee discussions. So Audit Committee?
Yep. The 2023-24 single audit, the extra classroom audit, and the internal audit report are in. So hopefully on January 21st, it'll make it on the agenda for board approval for all those. And we're also going to come up with a criteria to develop the next internal audit. And we're going to meet with that probably, well, before the 21st. And that's where we are.
Great. Thank you, David. Policy Committee.
Meeting on Friday at 7:30 in Ray's office.
Great. Visitation.
We have, we're going to Kingsford on the 17th, we're going to Fitzhugh Park on the 24th.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda, and I would like to group these items all together, please. So these are consent agenda items A through H. So if I can get a motion, please, for consent agenda items A through H.
Make the motion.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sean. It worked. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have personnel. We're going to start with support staff recommendation for retirement. So item A, if I can get a motion for item A, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion? And then congratulating Ms. Susino in her retirement. And thank you for all of her service since 1997. So very much appreciated. Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. I'd like to group the next set of items B through G, please. If I can have a motion for items B through G. Thank you, Kristen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Any discussion on items B through G? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next set I'd like to group together under personnel are items H through the remainder, K. So if I can have a motion for H through K, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion on items H through K?
I haven't heard much chat about our substitute teacher status. Like, are we doing okay with having substitutes to reach out to? What's the pool looking like?
So when we look at the size of our candidate pool and the numbers that we have one of the largest pools that we've had. The issue is the need for subs has always been growing, right? So for us, would we do better if we had more subs? Absolutely. But the need for subs is also a driving factor in that as well. So not only has our pool grown, but also our need for subs has also grown. And so, are there days in which we are asking our teachers to maybe give up a planning period to sub in a class, or asking TAs to be a part of that? Absolutely. So that's an ongoing issue for us that we're continuing to look at.
Ray, how are we with the bus garage, with subs and custodial subs and food service?
So custodial and food service were in an okay spot. I mean, we absolutely need more. Transportation is really one of our greatest needs. Drivers in particular, but attendance as well. As you know, the district, we contract with Hale a lot for a lot of our athletic runs, just because we're not able to meet the demand. So many, and it really also comes down to the timing, right? So when many of our athletic runs are getting ready to leave, our elementary buses are still out and about. So all of our drivers are needed. We don't have that extra step to be able to do some of that extra work. So Tom Gunn and his team, Pete, Bob, prior to his leaving, we've been doing a lot of marketing. City BOCES did a nice advertising piece looking for ways to try to recruit more people to come into that job. We're continuing to look for ways to entice people to maybe take a look at that. And we're continuing to do that. But transportation across the region continues to absolutely be a concern for all districts.
Any other discussion on items H through K? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Next up is finance, and I'd like to group the first set A through D, please. So if I can have a motion for A through D.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kristen. Any discussion on finance items A through D?
Just, again, a big thank you for all the donations to the district. We appreciate it.
Okay, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll do a few solo items. The first one is item E. This is our budget development calendar for the next academic year. So if I can get a motion for item E, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second? Thank you, Sean. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Next one up is the secret resolution for the emergency elevator project at Kingsford and Fitzhugh that Dr. Kilmer was referencing in his superintendent's report. So if I can get a motion for finance item F, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion on this resolution? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. Which follows up to spend the money. A resolution for the expense of the emergency elevator project at Kingsford and Fitzhugh. So I get a motion for item G, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there a second? Thank you, Julie. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, next up is items from the board. Do any board members have items this evening?
I do, sorry. Just to let you know, put on your radar that on the 30th of this month, Thursday around 3:30, Oswego County School Boards will be having a meeting with Will Barkley, and everyone will be invited to it. It'll be at 3:30, and we haven't pinned down the location yet, but it will be either in Mexico or here or in Fulton, around that area. But it's a chance to be able to talk to him about any issues relative to the budget coming up and education components of it. So just to put it on your radar for that, and I'll bring you more information later.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Any other board members?
The girls JV and varsity basketball suicide prevention appreciation night is 2 weeks from tonight against Fulton. I'd really like to beat Fulton.
Thank you, Sean. Any other board members with items this evening? Okay. There is a need for an executive session this evening for the purposes of collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law and medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation. There will not be a need for a vote afterwards. Can I have a motion to move to executive, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Sean. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Have a great evening, everybody.